Welcome to Mondays. This is a series of occasional vodcasts and other insights into how Monday can help transform the NHS into a more digitally efficient organisation. I'm Trevor Lawson, and as a programme manager, I've used Monday to take the grunt out of lots of admin routines and managing large and complex change. And I set up this network to share that best practice. If you're new to Monday, it's cloud-based software. And it lets ordinary mortals like me build infinitely flexible workflows quickly and easily without the need to be a digital genius or write any computer code. But in some of these podcasts, we'll also explore how you can do more advanced workflows created by in-house tech teams without the vast overheads of specialist software engineers. So we hope you find these useful. And if you're using Monday in the NHS, I'd love to hear from you and share more examples of Monday at work. Now, for today's podcast, I'm really pleased we've got Technology Lead Manager from NHS Sussex, Kaz Evans, joining us. Kaz, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on today.
No problem.
Can you tell us a bit about your background and your role in the Trust?
Yeah, so I've been with the Trust for about 3.5 years now. Previous to that, I worked for West Sussex County Council in their digital area, working with young people with social media and so on. And then before that, I worked at a local college delivering IT training. That could have been website design, programming, so on and so forth. And when I first came to NHS Sussex, I worked in as a project officer, working on digital tools with practices and so on and so forth. And then I've moved into project manager role, which has changed titles to technology lead manager recently. And during that, my role is to basically help our staff with as many digital tools as possible to improve their efficiency and so on and so forth. So Monday is one of those tools we use.
Great, thanks very much. Now, to introduce Monday, we're going to have a look at a non-clinical workflow that you've created for tracking display screen equipment requests, which is really important because it means that we know that colleagues can have the right equipment for their work. And this shows how Monday can incrementally reduce the admin burden of workflows like that. Now, I know at the heart of Monday are boards, which capture the interactive display of all the data, and we will come to those in a minute. But let's start, if we can, with the user's experience of Monday. So if I came to do a request for a display screen, what's the form that starts the workflow? Can you show how and why the form is structured as it is?
Yeah, no problem. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. So originally, this would have been a Word document, quite a long Word document, about 8 to 10 pages worth. And the staff member would fill out their version, email it to their line manager. The line manager would then fill out the rest of the document with their version and then email that to Health and Safety. Sometimes it would then get stuck. So it would go from the staff member to the line manager and just sit in the line manager's inbox. And we wanted to try and reduce that a little bit, but also we were finding that staff were saying, well, I've done my bit, and then Health and Safety never got it because it was always sitting at the line manager. So what we've tried to do is create an online form that links the two together, but also allows Health and Safety to see when a staff member has done their part and the line manager hasn't. So this is our form, and it's very simple. It's like a Microsoft Forms form. You build it as you would do any other Microsoft form, which I can show you in a minute, but it's got their name, email address, the date that they're filling out the form, the manager's name, email address, and then as you go down the form, it's got lots of drop-down lists. So what's your work base? It's got whether they're using DSE at home or hybrid. Do they suffer from any of the following? And then they can choose more than one, so they can choose more than one. For any of the following, they can put in their symptoms, and anything with a red line has to be answered. So 95% of this form has got a red star because we want them to answer it. But as you go down, you can see that you can add pictures into your form as well. So this represents the question itself, and then they can choose yes, no from their drop down as they go through. It feels a little less than the 10 pages when you open a Word document because you can't necessarily tell that it's that long. But you go down the form, it's got all the questions, the pictures that relate to each one. And in certain questions, there are links. So if you're unsure, you can link off and it goes off to our staff intranet for them to look at what that actually means before they answer the question. And then they can carry on down to the bottom. Another link there. And then when they've finished, they just press submit. And the minute it submits that, it puts all the information from the submission onto a board on Monday automatically. So every single one of the answers that they've put on their form, all the statuses that they've chosen, are now a column in a board with all that information.
Thank
And
you.
the line manager will have received that in an email.
Right. We should add that you've shrunk the column, so we're not revealing any personal information here. You mentioned that you could also do this in a Microsoft form. So Microsoft 365, which most of the NHS uses, has that. But then if you wanted to be alerted when a new form was submitted, you need to manage that in another app called Power Automate, which NHS staff don't have, in my experience, isn't that easy to use. And then you'd probably have to do some more work to add the new submission to the spreadsheet, because that also doesn't happen by default with Microsoft Forms at the moment. And that's just the data collection element, isn't it? So I guess where Monday really leaves Microsoft behind is the rest of the workflow. So can we have a look at that board and what data you're capturing there? Could you tell us a bit about the different columns and what columns you've chosen and why?
Absolutely. So this is known as a status column. So you can have up to 30 statuses. So this is where we've asked them what their work base is, and we've given them the options there. You'll notice that on the form itself, at the very top, for work base, there are 2 options. But on my board, there are actually 3 options. I've hidden Wicker House because we no longer have that building. So we did have that building when this form was being used, but I can go into the editor side of the form and then hide the status. So no one else can now choose Wicker House, but previous submissions did have Wicker House. These are, again, another status, and again, I can hide them. I can add more. If I add another status in here, it will automatically appear on my form for people to use. This one is a drop down, so multiple choice, and you can have a ridiculous amount of multiple choice, and this puts more than one option in. So that's the one where I filled it out earlier and they can choose more than one option. We've got simple text columns, which is where they're putting their text related information in. And we do automatically collect the date that they submit their form, as well as the date that they do their assessment, because they may well be different, because you can save a form and come back to it later. So the date they've submitted and the date they've done their assessment could be very different. And you'll see this here that says awaiting line manager. That isn't on the form anywhere. It's a completely different status that status column that I've added to my board, and it's automatically generated when a staff member submits using our automation, so that we know that a staff member has submitted it, but not the line manager yet.
Fantastic. I noticed at the top there you've got different views, main table, table, and so on. What's the purpose of having different views? How do you use that?
So I've created a CAS view because you'll see here that I've hidden columns. So with this button here, I can hide certain columns that I don't actually want to see in my view, but it doesn't affect the main table. So if you was to go to the main table view, all the columns that I've hidden would appear and you'd be able to see them. But on the view that I'm looking at, I don't care about certain columns. So I've hidden them out the way because I'm only worried about certain information on my screen. So it's quite good for allowing different views for different staff members that need to look at different things in relation to the form. So it might be that one of the questions was about keyboards, for example. You could filter and have a tab at the top that said keyboards, and you would only show all the columns that related to keyboard questions, and then whoever's dealing with getting new keyboards for staff members would only need to see that tab.
Fantastic. You also mentioned that when certain statuses change and other actions happen, that triggers an email. Can you show us how that automation process works? So you've got an automation tab there.
Yes, so at the top, everything is done with automations. As you can see, it says 19. So we've got 19 on this board in particular, depending on what people have chosen within the form itself, and depending on what submissions have been made. So when the main one that starts this whole thing is this one at the bottom here, which says when process changes to new entry, set process to awaiting line manager. And when a form is submitted, it automatically sets it as new entry. So this one here has a new entry status. So when a form is submitted, it comes in as new entry automatically. And then because it says new entry, it changes it to awaiting line manager. and then sends the email off to the line manager. So when it's, we've got different ones here that show you the emails. So when process changes to new entry, send email. And then send email to line manager. So this one itself is sending one email to the staff member and one email to the line manager. And then it also shows you all the success of those emails going out. And you can view if there's any failed ones, you get notified. And it will tell you it's failed, and it will tell you why it's failed. So it could be that the email address was wrong, so on and so forth. So it will tell you and let you know.
And it's important to note you've linked this to the existing Microsoft Outlook 365 setup. So those emails are going out through the regular Outlook system. They'll appear in people's inboxes in the usual way.
Exactly that. So you use the Outlook integration app. You log in with your Outlook email account. We have what's known as application email accounts. So we have a facilities email account that is only used for Monday, and we have automations on that email account as well. So if somebody was to reply, it automatically sends it to the correct inbox for the team to deal with. So it doesn't come back to Monday. The replies don't come back to Monday at the moment. Once it's sent the line manager an email, the line manager has their own form to complete.
Okay.
So it's a whole nother form. It's not a big one, it's only a small one. And it just says the line manager's name and email address. And you'll notice that it's got a mandatory submission ID field. This is what links the two forms together. So on our submission board from the staff member, you see this ID here. This is what gets emailed to the line manager, and the line manager must submit that ID on their board. When they do so,
it's a full audit trail for you.
It does indeed. So on the manager's board, it will then get submitted with the submission ID. And that's how we can link the two together. So when the line manager is submitted, it automatically updates that the line manager has submitted, and it will change that on our staff board.
Great stuff. And do line managers see the boards as well, or do they just interact through forms and emails?
Forms and emails. So in the email, they'll get given a document to read, and that document's got all the answers. So it would have been the same as if they were given the Word document before. They get given what's known as a Monday document. I can't show you the Monday document because it will have all the information in it from staff members, but it just emails that to the line manager for them to read it, and then once they submit, they only look at this form. So nobody needs a Monday account. They don't even need a viewer account. They just submit their online form, and it goes through to the team to deal with. And once a line manager is submitted, it automatically emails the staff member to let them know that the line manager has submitted. Then it emails our health and safety team to let them know that a full submission has been made and to have a look at that information.
Okay, thanks for that. And you've got a chart tab as well in one of those views. What have you got chart-wise at the moment for this?
So just some very basic, simple charts, so we can see where process is at the moment. So we've got 144 that have been completed, 47 that are awaiting the line manager. Previously, we would have no idea that those 47 had already sent their Word document off to their line manager and their line manager hasn't submitted. Now we know. 2 that the line manager has submitted, and then 2 that where staff have left. This helps us because we have automation set up on the board that those 47 line managers, if after 30 days they've not submitted their part, it sends them a reminder email. If after 60 days, another one, 90 days, another one, 120 really alerts everybody that they have not done their managerial job, that they really need to submit it, and it will also tell their line manager that they haven't done their job. So it sends those automatic emails. This one here for iCare, we ask a specific question as to whether they know about iCare and iCare vouchers. So you can use the iCare vouchers. If it says no, they get an automatic email with all the information about iCare and where to get their iCare vouchers, and actually gives them a link to fill out an iCare voucher request, which is a different board that I'm not showing you today, but that has that option too.
So that's really good because that's the full audit process that you've got in place. So that if you need to check whether or not someone was properly advised, you've got a full record of that having happened.
Yep, and with charts, you can drill down on it. So if I was to click on that no, it will then show me those no's. So who has said no? So I can look down and drill down on it further.
That's one of the beauties of the dynamic data here, isn't it? It's really effective.
And it's all live. So the minute I was to change a status, if I was to change a status on any of this, it would automatically straight away update a chart. So
Yeah.
if I was to change a workbase, for example, it would change, so on and so forth. We also use the headset required. So if staff members say yes to needing a headset, then we'll be arranging that to get a headset sent to them or dropped off at an office for them to pick up, so on and so forth. And then any other adjustments needed, that there's a question that says if there's anything else that's not captured in this form, please let us know. So 15% of those staff have said yes. That information would be on the board. We can click on it, scroll along to that question, get what extra adjustments they need, and then work with them on that.
That's fantastic. Okay, Kaz, thanks very much. That's been a really good insight into some of the power behind Monday and the things you can do with more advanced workflows. Thanks very much indeed for your time today. And if anyone else has done interesting things in Monday that they want to share on this workflow network, please do get in touch and we'll do another one of these videos going forwards. Hope to see you again as well, Kaz. Thanks very much indeed, and
No problem.
much appreciated. Take care.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.